Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show. Today I have a bunch of trades that I want to talk to you about. So at the beginning of the year, I decided that I needed to do a little bit more exercising to try and stay in shape for, during the winter, because I often don't do that. And then I start the spring off riding my bike to work, and I'm in horrible shape for the first 2 weeks. So I wanted to try and avoid that. So I started riding my bike, my stationary bike at home, 3 times a week there after the first of the year. So I'd get up really early and I would ride my bike for about an hour, I want to say. About an hour? I don't remember now. But what I would do, when I first started that, I'm like, so I would just pedal and pedal and pedal and pedal and pedal and pedal. And my God, it was boring just sitting there looking at my handlebars or looking out the window at a bunch of snow at that time. So I got the brilliant idea after about a week and a half of riding my bike that, hey, I have all these trades on the shelves next to me that I've been wanting to read. Why don't I just start reading one of those per session? I think it was about half an hour I rode that bike. So I would ride for about half an hour and I would read a trade. I'd pretty much get through an entire trade in one session. Sometimes I'd have to read a little bit more after that just to finish it. So I was reading there basically a trade a day for a good chunk of time. And I think I read about almost a dozen trades when I stopped doing that. Actually stopped riding the bike there for a while too, just because of some issues with my back. So, but you didn't come here to listen to me complain about my health. So the point is, my pain is your gain, I guess, in a way, because what I have for you today are some trades that I want to talk about. Some of the top trades, three different trades that I really enjoyed for various reasons. So I have here Animosity, Volume 1, Injection, Volume 1, and Faster Than Light, Volumes 1 and 2. But up first is Animosity. So this is it's called Animosity Volume 1, The Wake. This is one of the newer books at the time of this recording from Aftershock Comics. And this is by Marguerite Bennett, Raphael De La Torre, Rob Schwager, Marshall Dillon, and Juan Doe, I guess. I just think it's funny. Is that a pseudonym? Anyway, that's the artist on the special called The Rise. So Animosity Volume 1, The Wake, contains issues 1 through 4, and then that special. This is, I saw this when I saw this in previews, this book, they had a page or preview, a couple preview pages in it. And I read those and went, wow, that's really cool. And so I, for some reason, though, passed on getting the monthly issues and decided to wait for the trade. And so I got this and got it in, and I was super excited to read it. And then I started reading the first few pages, and that's the part that really got me. So the first couple pages are just like the shock introduction. You know, these guys are talking. They're at an animal shelter. And the exterminator comes in because they have a rat problem, and so the guy is reaching down to investigate the literal hole in the wall, you know, like a cartoon mouse hole in the wall that you would see on Tom and Jerry or something. And then the rats attack, and they're talking. And then there's this one page in the trade anyway. I don't know. I'm sure it appeared in the issue, but. There's this page here that's just a bunch of text explaining what happened, and with a bit of detail here. Yeah, so it says here there are roughly, let's see, I should have prepared this. So that's 100,000 million billion. Okay, I'm not even going to try and say that. So it says this number can be expressed as 20 quintillion. There you go. or the equivalent of 20 billion billions. That's how many animals are on Earth, according to this. As compared to these, as it says here, 7.25 billion human beings on the planet. So what we know is this: one day, for no reason, the animals woke up. They started thinking, they started talking, they started taking revenge. We call it the wake. It's less dramatic than the funeral. So what comes next are those preview pages that I mentioned. And this is, I mean, when I read this is what really got me. So there are 6 pages here. There are 6 panels per page, and each panel on the page is its own setting, its own set of characters and animals. And so you see a bunch of things going on here. There's a woman at the vet with her dog. It looks like the dog is dying, and she's going to have to euthanize it. There's a guy about ready to shoot a cow in the head to, slaughter it. There's a cat sleeping in between this couple. A polar bear is about ready to chomp down on a seal, it looks like. There's some deer on this overpass and these cars that are going in through this tunnel. A bunch of other things. And then in the final panel of this 2-page spread is, in the bottom right, is what will become the main characters, which is this little girl named Jessie and her dog Sander. And I just want to mention here before I move on, there in the middle of this 2-page spread, I did not notice this the first time I read it, but when I was rereading it to talk about it here, there's a word in the middle in this circle, and it says "O" in big white letters with some red splotches around it, and then you turn the page. Holy is the word in the middle, and like I said, for instance, like the cat sleeping in between the couple, the cat suddenly walking on the guy, going towards his face. The polar bears chomp down on the seal, but suddenly stops. The dog that's about to be euthanized looks up and opens up its mouth up at its human owner. And at the very bottom again, Sander says or asks, "Jessie?" You turn the page, and then the things go to crap. I don't know why I said that, because I'm going to say a bad word here in a minute. In the middle of this 2-page spread is the final word of this sequence. Fuck. So, oh, holy fuck is what it says. I'll have to put the flag on that for language. But anyway, so the dog that I mentioned before tells the owner, "Don't cry. I understand and I forgive you." The cow talks, "Please, you don't have to do this." The cat, "If you ever fucking hit her again, I will cut your fucking eyes out of your skull while you sleep." The polar bear, "Oh my God, what have I done?" The deer suddenly attack the vehicles from the overpass. One of them saying, "Kill them all." And Sander says, I love you, Jessie, honey. I just love you." And then on the 7th page of the sequence, New York City, it says, and Jessie and Sander are hugging. "I love you too, Sander." So that sets up the book. And I read that sequence and I was like, holy crap, this is going to be an interesting read. And it certainly was. Pretty much the rest of it is the first issue or two is humanity dealing with the fact that all these animals can now think and talk. It's interesting though, because the world kind of goes to hell pretty quickly. In fact, in the Rise special at the end of the book, it's revealed that I think it's in New York. I think that's the setting. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was one of the bigger cities, but it's revealed that the animals pretty much took over very quickly. I'm not quite sure how that happened. It may be just my own hubris as a human being, but I kind of wonder how there wasn't more destruction, I guess. If things like that were happening where the animals were actually attacking us, we do have all those weapons. So I don't know. When I start to think about the premise of the book, it starts to break down for me a little bit. So I have a little bit of problem suspending my disbelief somewhat, realizing it's a comic book and, it's a fantasy story. It's a really interesting fantasy story, but the fact that the animals can talk, and they talk, at least for the ones we've seen, they all speak English, and they talk very much like humans. Now, maybe that's because they're around us. I don't know. That stuff hasn't been explained, and maybe we don't need it to be explained. I mean, after all, in The Walking Dead, we do not know how the dead came back to life and started walking. I don't think that has ever been explained, at least as far as I have read up in the comic. But I think I remember reading or hearing that Kirkman would never tell that story, because that's not the point. That's not the point of the story. So I just need to, I have to decide something about this book, whether or not I want to continue it. But before I do that, there are some really good things about this. Like I said, it's really interesting to see how the animals interact with us. It's not just that in one city they took over. It's not that just that Sandor is very loyal to Jesse. In fact, he through a sequence of events, he and Jesse end up by themselves in this apartment, and there's a a quote unquote pet tiger that killed its human host. And the tiger is going to kill Jesse. And Sandor, through some interesting manipulations, basically outsmarts the cat and ends up killing it, but not like, it's not like they fought together, because that would just be a no-win situation for the dog. But besides that, there's a few interesting sequences. They're in Jesse's parents and her and Sandor go to a park in New York. I don't know which one offhand, but there's all these humans and these animals, and they're trading services. There's a cow in the background, basically saying, I'll give you milk if you milk me. There's some other animals who somehow have gotten a hold of some human medication. Basically, some animals, I guess, can't handle the fact that they're now conscious and aware, and the life is just too much for them. And so these animals are offering a humane. That's really specious, isn't it? That word, when you start talking about these things. A humane way of dying. What else? There is a sequence where basically with this situation, it looks like that certain services, food's not being delivered, like normal. So Jesse's parents have to go out and collect food and other essentials, I guess. And I think during one of those things, there's a guy with a gun, and he's threatening people, and Sandor basically, he threatens Jesse. I can't remember if it's directly or indirectly, but it looks like Jesse might get shot. And so Sandor attacks the guy, saves her. But what happens is that her dad, Jesse's dad, freaks out, basically saying, you could have gotten her killed, and starts to beat Sandor mercilessly. And the panels just fade to black. And then the next issue, or the next page of the story, I think it says a year later. Yeah. I guess it's the same issue, but it's the next page is just 1 year later, and Sandor is leading Jesse outside. Apparently her parents are dead. They were killed by scavengers, Jesse tells someone later. And so thus begins the journey story aspect, because Sandor's trying to take Jesse to her brother. She has an older brother. He was estranged from the family. He's in California. They're in New York. So that's basically the setup of the book. So I have to One thing I didn't like was that beating scene, because, how would Sander react to that after the beating? There's some prime lost character moments there. Now, this book goes back and forth. In the past, we see the scene where Jesse gets Sander when he was a puppy. So there are times when the flashbacks could fill in some of this stuff. Obviously, didn't get it in this first volume, but that's one of those things. Is that enough to bring me back for volume 2? There is some question about is Jesse's parents really dead, or did Sander trick Jesse for some reason? There's also a suggestion that maybe Sander killed the parents. So a lot of mysteries here, a lot of questions. There was a scene where there were some humans that had been captured. They were going to be part of this prisoner exchange between some animals and the humans. One of the humans says something about they know what happened with the wake and they know how to basically reverse it. And that was all that we got on that. So that's pretty much it. But because I don't want to give away too much about it, go read it and decide for yourself if you like this book. I really did enjoy it. I really did. The art is really good, especially the first 4 issues. The art is different for the Rise special than the rest of the series. So, it's really good art. I really like Sander. Jesse's okay. It's mostly the animals that I get a kick out of, and how they interact with each other. But like I said, when I think about it too much, my suspension of disbelief starts to break down a little bit. Like I said, how can the animals even talk? They can't form words. They shouldn't be able to form words like we do. Why do they behave so much like humans? Why do they only speak English? I don't know. Things like that. So, like I said, I'm not sure if I want to continue with this, despite my initial wow reaction, because like I said, I read those first few pages, those first 7 or 8 pages. I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be a fun ride. So, anyway, go check it out. I do really like to support Marguerite Bennett as much as I can, and this was one of them. But we shall see. So next up is Injection, Volume 1. This is by Warren Ellis, Declan Shalvey, Jordi Belair, and Phonographics. So this collects the first 5 issues of this series, and boy, I remember seeing this in. Is this from Image? Yeah. I remember seeing this in previews and going, "Oh, Warren Ellis is doing a book with Declan Shalvey. I should check that out." But I didn't order the issues. Again, I'm not sure why. Maybe because I haven't been as enamored with Warren Ellis's work lately. Boy, was I wrong, because this was a ride. This was a hoot and a half. I really enjoyed this book. Let's see, just to give you a brief overview, it's kind of, I would say that a bunch of techno wizards, for lack of a better term, loose an artificial intelligence on the world to prevent the stagnation of human innovation. And of course, it all goes to shite. So there's this small group of people. There's the scientist Maria, the wizard or cunning man or witch doctor, however you'd like to say it. He doesn't like to be called a wizard. He doesn't like to be called anything really in terms of having to do with magic. That's Robin. There's the secret agent, Simeon, the investigator who looks like an Indian Sherlock Holmes, or at least he's supposed to evoke Holmes quite a bit. And and the programmer, the computer genius, Bridget, who is Simeon's younger sister. And then there's the Injection, which is the AI. And AI is not quite the right term. They say Bridget says something about that. in the book. It's not an artificial intelligence. It's a non-biological entity. I think that's how she said it. But it's wacky fun is what it is. Pseudoscience and magic all meshed up together. The artists Shalvey and Belair do a great job of portraying this mix of magic and technology. They also do a really great job at conveying the stress of what this group of people have brought into the world, especially in relation to Maria's haggard features. I mean, she's got these sunken eyes and these deep inset wrinkles on her face. I mean, it just looks like, and we find out in the book that she's dealt with a bunch of weird crap quite a bit. And it's taken its toll on her, and to the point where I think she's essentially institutionalized when this book opens, and she's brought out of that to deal with the latest event from the injection. It really, based on what I know, which isn't much, I have to say, but based on what I know, it seems like that Maria is like a stand-in for Warren Ellis. Maria also has a cane. I believe Warren Ellis has a cane or was walking with a cane for a while. I don't know. To me, Maria is Ellis, just the female version of him. This book really reminds me of Planetary. The archaeologists of the impossible, as the tagline went. You got a bunch of, basically a multinational group, dealing with basically hypernatural events. So it's very reminiscent of Planetary, but instead of the three main characters in Planetary, you've got 5 here, and it's more up to date, it's more modern than Planetary, but it's like I said, it's a ride, man. I love the quirkiness of it. I love these grand ideas. The characters are really cool. You get to see, there's a lot of flashbacks. And so you get to see over the course of the 5 issues, the discussion between them and basically what they're going to do to essentially stop the stagnation of human creativity. And of course, like I said, things go wrong, but it's really interesting to see how they start off younger looking, fresh in dealing with the ideas and the way that they approach them. They seem genuinely curious and interested in trying to help humanity. And then flash forward a few years. I'm not exactly sure how many years in between the beginning of this and where we're at now. Things are just not good for most of them. There's this really horrific scene with Bridget where this guy at a computer, he's found by some people, and Bridget is brought in to investigate. And she walks in. In fact, hold on, let me find that real quick. Yeah, here we go. So she walks in, and there's all these computer screens, laptops, and monitors and stuff, and they're all showing the injection symbol that Bridget created that the team got as tattoos, or at least some of them did. I know she has it. And so, like I said, there's all this blood everywhere. This guy looks like he's been fried, but he's got this cable going from looks like his torso to the computer. And as soon as she walks in, he starts speaking. "Hello, Bridget." She turns around to the security guards and says, "Have you tried turning it off and turning it on again?" Oh, the humor in this is just really good. At least it tickles me pink. So yeah, there's a lot of good humor in here. There's really cool ideas. Like I said, I highly recommend this. As soon as I read it, and on the next order that I placed, I ordered volume 2. I haven't yet received it, which kind of irritates me. But because I know it's out. It's already out, but but the company I order my comics from hasn't shipped it yet. And I'm anxiously awaiting it. Again, this is another one I wish, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I wish I had ordered the singles. I had an opportunity. No, I missed out the new issue when the series came back. I think it was on hiatus. I missed out on ordering that issue because I thought I might as well just start ordering the singles now. And now it's like 2 months later. And I decided, well, what the hell? I'll just get it in trade, at least for now. It might be that down the road, if I can find the single issues cheaper, I might get those. Okay, so next up is Faster Than Light, Volumes 1 and 2, like I said. This is by Brian Haberlin, Dan Kemp, Dave Kemp, Jared Van Dyke, and Francis Takanaga. I loved this book. I kind of knew of it. It wasn't like Animosity and Injection where I thought, "Oh, I want to get this. Do I want to get it in singles? Do I want to wait for the trade?" I was vaguely aware of it, because I saw it in previews. This is also from Image, but I don't know. I guess I just kind of saw it and just ignored it essentially. But I think I read something months and months ago talking about this book, and it piqued my interest, that review. And I think I was also starting to pay attention to the solicitations and previews for this book. And I thought, I should probably check out the trade to see if I would like it. And so I've been looking for it, and I found it at the comic book shop in Spokane that I used to go to all the time. I had a gift certificate at Christmas time, and they happened to have a copy of Volume 1 there, so I got it. It was pretty cheap, cheaper than if I would have ordered it new from another service. So I got it, and oh my God, I loved it. I love this book. It's basically it's a science fiction tale. It's set in, well, I think it's supposed to be essentially now, maybe just a few years into our future. But what it's about is the human race taking its first real steps among the stars. So for me, which and that story or that concept, that is really something that I dig. If I can watch a movie that's like that, that just pushes all my buttons. And the movie that I think of the most when I think of things like that is Contact. The one with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. That I love. That's actually one of my all-time favorite movies. In fact, I've been wanting to watch that again lately, especially after reading Faster Than Light. But like I said, Contact. So I think of this book, and I immediately think of Contact. I also think of Star Trek Enterprise. So if you're not aware, Star Trek Enterprise was the prequel series. It was set in the years before the original series, before Captain Kirk and the USS Enterprise. But it was when I was first hearing about Enterprise, it was supposed, that this may be me. Maybe it wasn't what the network and producers intended, but what I came away from when I first heard about Enterprise was that this was humanity's first foray among the stars in the Star Trek universe. And it kind of started out that way a little bit. In fact, there's a lot of crossover between Star Trek and Faster Than Light because there's a lot of Star Trek references, direct Star Trek references. Someone tells the engineer basically to say something like Scotty. No, wait, that's in Injection. I'm getting my comics confused. But regardless, there's, at the very beginning of Volume 1, there's the captain of the ship and the person he's talking to, I think it's the pilot. They talk about, Star Trek and like it just goes through the book, there's one character that keeps bringing up references to Star Trek about how this is like Star Trek. So I love that. So that's this book to me. It's only 10 issues. Each volume holds 5 issues. And that apparently that's it. There are no more issues coming, which I basically knew that going in. I think I found out shortly after I got the first volume, before I'd even read it. Maybe I knew before. I don't recall. But regardless, it's a pity because I probably would go and start getting these single issues. That's how much this book means to me, or this concept means to me. And basically the concept is, so in 1940, we received a message from this race out there in the stars called the Aurelians that included faster than light technology and other technology that they've given us, with a warning. Basically, use this technology to leave Earth before this malignant force arrives and kills everything. Unfortunately, we could not decipher the message until the modern time, right now, basically. And so one of the scientists was able to do that, and also able to figure out the faster than light information that they were given, so that we actually could do that. So basically, apparently, the Earth was about ready to send a manned mission to Mars, which is, I think that's probably why I said it's probably just a few years into our future. So they were planning that already when this breakthrough happened, and so they slap on the faster than light technology and all the other technology that they have onto these ships that weren't made for them. So you have this hodgepodge of technologies on the ship with a human crew that doesn't, they've never done this before, but they're going to go out and discover worlds and make first contact. So that's kind of like the PR side of it. But really, the secret mission is that they're supposed to go out and discover allies that can help them, because this malignant force, and I forget how they refer to it in the book at the moment. If they had deciphered everything in 1940, they probably could have, built enough ships and evacuated Earth, or come up with an alternate plan to deal with the threat. But because it took them so long, they have no time. So this is a last-ditch effort for them to go out into the stars, make allies, get help. In the meantime, another faster-than-light ship, crewed by a friend of the lead captain in the series, he goes off and goes back to I believe it's the Aurelians' home planet, and discovers that it's just toast. Everything was killed. It was a slaughter. They destroyed the planet, not to use its resources or anything, but just to kill it. And so that's the fate that awaits Earth if the other crew can't find allies. So that's kind of the bulk of the rest of the series is them going off and encountering alien species and having some adventures with those alien species. There's one encounter where they think they've been befriended, and it turns out it's a ruse, and they have to deal with that. There's another one where one of the crew members decides that she is, the aliens don't know any better, so she just starts referring to herself as Queen of the Earth, and you can imagine what hijinks ensue because of that. There's some other things that happen, but just go read it, because it's a lot of fun. If you like science fiction that's not dystopian science fiction, and I'm one of those people, don't get me wrong, there's some bad things that happen. There's shades of Alien in this book, shades of 2001 to shades of 2001 as well. and most of the aliens are surprisingly friendly to these newcomers, these humans from Earth. Probably because they see us as a bit backwater to them and really not worth their time. But we the crew in the story do find this crystal that in the first volume is kind of, they find this interesting crystal, but they don't really do much about in volume 2 or in volume 1, but in volume 2 it comes back and there's this really cool scene where involving the crystal. But what I really like about it is the science aspect of this. The crew basically get trapped near a black hole, and because of some quick thinking by the crew, they're able to basically get into the orbit around the accretion disk of the black hole. I mean, they're going to get pulled in eventually, but they're safe at the moment. And then not too long after that, more ships arrive because of the time dilation. So what to them is a matter of hours or days has been years on Earth. And so these other ships were able to come and try to help them out. And I think, if I remember correctly, they do end up, spoilers, they do end up getting rescued. But that was the final issue. So there's more stuff. I mean, there was a cliffhanger after that. I mean, that's not the cliffhanger. There's a cliffhanger involving the crystal, and then we get no more. No more. I hate it when a good series that I discover like this just ends. It definitely ended before its time. Just something else of note about this. Apparently, Haberman, right? Oh, Haberlin, the writer. Well, I should say whoever. Well, it says here created by Brian Haberlin and Skip Brittenham. Although Brittenham is not listed as is not listed in the credits for either volume. Just that he just has the created by credit. But they also did this. They set up something where if you had the Apple or Android app, then you got more stuff. You could watch the captain's log. You can read the backstory in the encyclopedia, interact with the augmented reality, alien ships, weapons, and more. So what I haven't done is see if that app is still available and if the content is still available, just to get a deeper sense of this world, a broader context, and which I thought is just a really cool idea. I also heard that the Faster Than Light series is being looked at for either television or a movie. I don't remember which one. I think maybe a TV series, which if that's true, I will watch the heck out of that for sure. So check out Faster Than Light if you're looking for a good, not dystopian science fiction story. Okay, and then finally, real quick, so those are the trades that I read while I was exercising. There's a bunch more. I'll probably get to those at some point in the future. But I want to mention a couple other just real quick trades that I read digitally. So I went in March, I went to Portland for a performance. And on the way, as my wife was driving, I read a bunch of digital comics on my iPad, which includes these two trades. I read Wayward and The Fix. And so I mentioned I got these. They were on sale, which is why I got them. I only buy comics on Comixology when they go on a pretty good sale. 50% off or more has to be, otherwise I won't touch them. But because I'd rather buy the physical if I'm going to pay full price. But since they were on sale, there was an image sale. I asked my good friend Travis, and I also asked my buddy Damian, because I know that they read more image books than I do, which ones that were included in the sale should I try? And Damian suggested Wayward, and I believe Travis suggested The Fix. And so I read those and I really liked them. I really liked one of them especially. But let's see here. Wayward is first. Let's talk about that one first. Okay, Wayward Volume 1, String Theory. This is by Jim Zub, Steve Cummings, Tamara Bonvillain, Ross Campbell, Josh Perez, Josh Rauch, Ludwig Olimba, and Marshall Dillon. A lot of those are colorists. So this is basically, well, the story is this Irish-Japanese girl discovers she's got powers. Well, here, I'll tell you what. I'll read part of the description from Comixology. Rory Lane is trying to start a new life when she reunites with her mother in Japan, but ancient creatures lurking in the shadows of Tokyo sense something hidden deep within her, threatening everything she holds dear. Can Rory unlock the secrets of her power before it's too late? The supernatural spectacle combines the camaraderie and emotion of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with the action and mystery of Hellboy. So, what I liked about this book, it's not something that actually I would have picked up at all. So I have to thank Damian for recommending it to me because I did enjoy it quite a bit. I especially liked the fact that Rory is, her dad's Irish, she has red hair, her mom's Japanese, and she lived. For some reason the parents split up. She was living with her dad in Ireland. And even Zub, even Jim Zub has her saying things like I've heard people say when I was in Ireland. So that was really cool. It's not overpowering. It's not like he's trying to reproduce a dialect or anything. But there's certain things that she says that really brought home the fact that she's been raised in Ireland. So she comes to Tokyo. This is her first foray or first visit there, I guess, and encounters a bunch of different characters who all have their unique abilities. I think there's at least 4 characters. So there's this group, it's Buffy and the Scooby Gang. And I really like the way that Rory's abilities, she's able to see, she calls them strings. She's able to see these lines, these connections between people and objects, and she's able to follow them, which turns out to be a major part of the plot, as we discover towards the end of the book. It was a really fun read. I have to decide if I'm going to continue with that or not. Probably not for a while, because I will wait for another sale where I maybe can get volume 2. So there's that, and then finally, The Fix. Volume 1, Where Beagles Dare, by Nick Spencer, Steve Lieber, Brian Hill, and Nick Shaw. So basically, this is a book about 2 bad cops who just crack me up. I remember seeing this book in previews. I read the description. I'm like, I don't want that. That seems dumb. Seems silly. Travis, if you're listening, I was wrong, because this was a hoot. This was a lot of fun. I did not expect to like these cops. The Beagle comes into it, but is not really a major part of the story. I think that's later on. I think that's in the next volume. And if you read this, you may disagree, but it didn't seem to me, considering what the title of this volume is, the fact that the Beagle is on the cover, comparing that to how the dog is portrayed in the story, I just didn't think it was all that. There wasn't all that much to it, I guess. Anyway, let me read the description to this book. Bad people do bad things to each other in this frenetic, outrageous, sometimes off-putting new caper. And boy, that's a really good description, I have to say. It also says, if you liked classic crime comics like Criminal and 100 Bullets, we apologize in advance for letting you down. I don't know about that. I was pretty pleased with that book, and I definitely want to read more of The Fix. So again, I'll probably wait for another sale. We shall see. So that's it. I just want to do a quick episode talking about some trades that I have read recently. I've got a bunch more. Like I said, I read about a dozen while I was trying to exercise for those few months that I did. So I need to sit down and take some notes and maybe talk about some more. And I've got a bunch more to read. So I'll be doing this again in the future. I hope you are intrigued by some of these books and maybe you'll check them out. And if you do, or if you have already, and you have some things to say about them, either that you agree with me or you think I'm totally crazy for liking this stuff or not liking some of the things that I didn't like. Speaking of animosity, let me know. I'd love to hear from you and talk with you about those things. You can always email me at longboxreview@gmail.com, or you can leave comments at the blog at longboxreview.com, or hit me up on Twitter at longboxreview. That's the easiest ways to get a hold of me, I guess. And yeah, hit me up. Leave some comments. Send me some voicemails. That'd be great. I'd really like to hear from you guys. Anyway, that's it. I will talk to you later. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.